educating and hold on entertaining conversation on the program today. Well, today we are going to be talking about early marriages. We're going to be having an overview of what early marriages could mean in this time, in this day, and in this age. Of course, there is a lot surrounding early marriages and what people should know about the effects of early marriages, maybe even the negativities. But we are also going to be talking about this complex social, cultural, and even economic phenomenon in the society. And I'm welcoming you again officially to the program this afternoon. Of course, I'm not going to be having this conversation alone. I have with me Joy Adeshola in the studio this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Joy, and
Good
welcome.
afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we are going to be talking to Joy whole time on early marriages. And just like I cited earlier, that early marriages are a very complex economic, financial, and even mental problems for young girls in the society. Now, early marriage is also called child marriage, as the case may be. Okay, so we are centering on the girl child today. Now, the very first conversation we're going to be having based off early marriages is how early marriage truncates the decision making power. Okay, so a child who has been forced into early marriage, how does this truncate the decision making ability and power of the girl child? And so, Joy, we're going to be seeing, and I would love to also hear from you what you think about early marriage and the effect it has towards the decision making capability of the girl child involved.
Okay, first of all, I think early marriage is not something that a young girl will one morning and say, okay, I want to get married to an older man,
Okay.
obviously, because this one, when we talk about early marriage, it's mostly on the feminine side. It's mostly, young girls getting married to older men, but you hardly see or hear that a younger guy has gotten married to an older lady, like let me say, a minor
Okay.
has gotten married to an older person. So let's just focus on the female. First of all, that decision was not actually, or should I say, that decision was not made by this girl child. It was
Okay.
actually made by an adult
Yeah.
or a guardian, somebody that probably oversees the way of life of this child.
Yeah.
So first of all, the fact that somebody had already made that decision for you,
Yes.
it has already influenced your own decision making. So eventually, as continue your life as a married woman, you won't even be able to make decisions for yourself. Your husband makes decisions for you, and then the person who pushed you into that marriage is going to be the one that will generally make the decision for everybody. So it's not even a question of if it affects, it already affects your decision making as a culture.
Wow, that is very lovely if you ask me, first of all, because that is yet another trajectory there is to how early marriages truncates the decision making power of the girl child. And Joy has made us understand that, first of all, and most importantly, the decision to even get married is not the decision of the person in question, which is supposed to be something done for love, right?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be something that a girl knows that I am physically developed, I am emotionally developed, I am ready to get into the serious institution called marriage and not the other way around. Joy also made us understand that the husband in question will also make decisions for the girl child. And that makes me want to ask you, Joy,
Mm.
how negatively impactful do you think that a human being, like a whole human being, giving another human being the right and the chance to make life changing decisions for them? How negatively impactful can that be for the girl child involved?
Well, if we are giving percentages, in fact, it's like 101 negative impacts.
Mm,
Because, like I said before, they're already making decisions for you. So the moment somebody makes decisions for you every time, every step of your life, in fact, somebody tells you when to go, when to stay, what to do, how to live your life. In fact, they're already giving you, like, they're projecting their culture on you. it already shows that you don't have any say in your life. Literally, you're not running your life again. It is your husband that is running your life. It is whoever put you in that marriage that is running your life. So sorry, can you repeat the question again?
So how negatively impactful can that be on the girl child?
Okay, first of all, it has negative impact mentally.
Okay.
It has negative impact medically.
Okay.
If you are, I would use an example. Now a minor, we can say a child who, somebody who's of the age of, let me say 15, or let me just say 18, upward,
Yeah.
that person cannot engage in marriage. Why? What do you even know about marriage? Nothing. What do you know about, having children? Because the other reason why people go into marriage is because they want to multiply.
Yeah.
And then another reason why, people are being pushed into underage marriage
Yeah.
is because they want financial support.
Mm.
For example, if a mother, or should I say a father or a parent or a guardian, has a young child, maybe a female child who's like 13 years old,
Yeah.
and they're like, they don't have money to feed, nothing, the child cannot go to school, and then there's this big man that's always giving them money, always supporting them financially.
Yeah.
The next thing that would come to that guardian's mind is like, whether we should give this our child, for marriage, to marry this person, so that this man can in turn be giving us more money, because
Mm.
I know that normally somebody cannot just help you completely.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They'll just probably just support you. Now
Right.
the only way you can get that maximum help from them is when you are giving them something.
Mm.
So they'll say, okay, let us give our daughter
Yeah.
in marriage, no matter the age, so that this man can be giving us, they can be giving us money. So first of all, I said it will affect you mentally.
Yeah.
You have lost your childhood.
Yeah.
You don't have any. If you're in a gathering where children are talking about, okay, how I grew up, childhood, the normal children play and
Yeah.
all that, you have no idea what
Yeah.
they're talking about. You've literally grown older than your own age.
True.
So it has already affected. You can't even reason. At that point, you're no longer reasoning like a child. You are reasoning like an adult, which is very wrong.
Yeah.
So you are premature. You
Mm.
are growing. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I should say somebody is growing prematurely,
Yeah.
because you don't you're a child by age,
Yeah.
but when it comes to your mental, your thinking and all that, you are thinking like an old woman. I mean, how can, it's just like somebody, okay, imagine if this person, this young child has gotten married, and maybe they want the child to start doing what's it called, handwork,
Yeah.
like, fashion designing and all that. That child will probably be thinking, okay, how what do I prepare for my husband at your age?
Mhm.
What you're supposed to be thinking is, oh, how do I go to university? How do I further my education? But that's not what you're thinking about. You're not thinking of family, which is
Yeah.
very wrong. You've already grown past your age. I mean, if you're in the midst of people your age, you don't think like them.
Yeah.
So they see you as, this one, I don't know who that person is from. I don't know where this person is from. And then also, the another negative effect it has is medically.
Yeah.
Now we know that children, especially the female child, when growing up, we know that your body changes. But there are some things that, an older person
Yeah.
can do with her body. Like there are some things that an older person can do with her body, but you cannot do it. For example, getting pregnant at what age? 18? At what age? 12? That is that is, I don't know. Sometimes if they take that child to hospital for, antenatal and the rest of them, when it's time to give birth, they'd probably just tell you, we have a 50-50 chance. It's
Yeah.
that this child will die and the baby will be alive, or two of them will die, because your body cannot carry that weight at that point.
Yeah.
So as you're growing up, your body is getting mature, your muscles are, adjusting. And that's why most time when they say, okay, if you see a child of 3 years old now,
Yeah.
in the next 3 years, that child is not the same.
Yeah.
So that means your body has, gone through changes. But then you've not given this child that opportunity. You've not given this child's body, that
Chance.
opportunity to, go through the normal changes. You've already, grown the child before the age. So if it gets to a point where that child has to give birth, that means you are now expanding the body beyond the normal limits. So if that child gives birth, and let's say that child gives birth, and the childbirth is successful and all that, there's going to be other underlying issues
Yeah.
after.
True.
Like, the fact that maybe there's this disease they call fistula, is something that's, in the layman explanation, it means that this child can no longer hold urine. Like, if you want to ease yourself, you can't hold it, it just comes out like
Yeah.
that. So if your muscles are not strong enough to carry all those things, obviously your muscles are not strong enough to carry all those things at that age. So those are the kind of illnesses that come after infections and the rest of them. So I would say that it affects you mentally and it affects your health. That's
All
just
right.
it.
Okay, thank you so much, Joy. Joy has spent a lot of time, trying to explain to us how negatively impactful, the decision power of when it is being taken away from the girl child, what happens, how it affects the girl child. And she has outlined some of those aspects for us right here. Thank you so much once again, Joy.
Thank
And
you.
we are going to move forward. Joy made mention of education. Now, there are a lot of promises where they say it's fine, don't worry, nothing happens. If you get married, I will train you in school and all of that. Now, we're not even going to look at the other aspects. Probably you are not going to be trained in school. So let's say that you are being trained in school by the man in question. Because
Mm,
I used to have a course mate in my year one, and she was married, okay?
okay.
And she took in right at
Mm,
the point of our year one exams, the very first exams in university. Now, she stopped coming after two papers. Now, up until the time where we graduated, we do not even know. Later, we got to speak to her. She said the stress was too much.
mm,
She couldn't handle the mental, the physical stress from the home front, and even the pressure from
mm,
school. Now, I need you to please explain to us even more, in broader terms, how you feel that early marriage jeopardizes the future of the girl
mm,
child
mm.
academically.
Okay. I see, someone who's going to school. You know that, us growing up,
Yeah.
when we were in school, they'll tell you, you don't want any distraction. When you're in school, you focus on your studies.
Yes.
Do you understand? You don't come and say, oh, maybe if a child comes late to school and you're explaining, oh, I went to carry yam for my mommy,
Yeah.
or we went to the farm, or one thing, one thing, one thing. The teacher would tell you, or probably call that your mother or your father or whoever sent you on that errand, that, sir, please, once it's so time, your child is supposed to go to school.
Yeah.
No distractions whatsoever. So imagine if it's now worse, it's now marriage, a child who's married and still going to school, like a very young child in, let me say, primary five, and the child is married and is still going to school, is a very, very massive distraction.
Yeah.
I feel like if your child, in fact, whoever promises you that they are going to take your child to school, you're going to send him to school, if you bring the child for marriage, I just feel like that thing is a trap.
Yeah.
Because the moment, let's say, okay, eventually they actually take that child to school,
Yeah.
but you will not forget the fact that you are a married woman.
Yes.
Like, you are no longer a child again. You're no longer seen as a child. You are a married woman. In fact, it would even draw out, attract other, we've not even, touched the fact that they will be discriminated in school.
Yes.
Like, your mates will look at you, because I know when I was in school, well, the lady wasn't married though. She wasn't married. She was older than us. Like, she
Yeah.
was like, I think she was like 9 years older than a lot of us.
Yeah.
So we saw her as grandma. You understand? So we used to call her funny names. We used to yab her. We used to call her very funny names that, let me not say we, because I was not among them. I was not among them. But people were always yabbing her, calling her all sorts of names, making her feel bad because she's older. And I mean, at her age, she's supposed to be in year three,
Yeah.
not in just three. You get. So imagine that scenario now. This child is married and you are in JS. Let me say the child is in JS1. The child just got into JS1, and maybe it's the husband that brought the child. And now this one is not, we're not even saying that this person is older than us, this person is younger,
Yeah.
or even our age mate, and you're saying that she's married. Like, there's going to be a lot of they are going to discriminate. And this one is not even, the stigmatization is going to be very high,
Yes.
starting from the teachers to the conversations that teachers would have with that child is going to be different from the conversations they will have with other children,
Yeah.
as their age mates. Secondly, that child will not be able to focus in school.
True.
That child will not be able. In fact, the moment you take that child out, like I said before, it wasn't the child's decision. You've
Yes.
already messed up with that child's mind. So the moment you take that child into marriage and then you're bringing the child back to school inside the marriage, now that child is no longer thinking of how do I, or maybe if there's an issue, like I said, it's going to be a distraction. If there's going to be an issue, maybe there's an assignment, or there's something, there's a take-home assignment they are supposed to do, or there's a project they are supposed to work on, and that child, doesn't meet up to it, and then the teacher asks you, why didn't you meet up? Sorry, sir, my husband needed me. It doesn't make any sense. Even your mates will be looking at you like, my dear, I don't know. I don't know how to help you right now.
Right.
You get, so I see it as a distraction. It shouldn't even happen. It
Yes.
shouldn't even happen at all. Don't take a child if you have successfully drawn your child into early marriage. Don't take that child to school. Don't take that child to school. And even if you have done it, you've already, drawn the child into early marriage. It's not too late to
Yes.
say no. It's not too late to go back and say, please, I beg, I want my child again. Let that child have that childhood growth. Let the growth be the normal, the way we all grew up like children, growing from children to teenagers to adults, not growing from a child you already, and in fact you're already thinking of how you're going to be a grandma at age
Yeah.
20. No,
Right.
it's going to be a very big distraction.
All right, thank you so much, Joy. I'm having a great time having this conversation with Joy. Joy has actually pointed out that, even if a child goes to school at the end of the day, there is a lot of pressure that will happen. Lack of concentration on the part of the child, trying to please the husband, knowing what to cook, what to wear, what to do, how to cope if there is pregnancy involved. And trust me, that could be a lot on the mind of a young adult and even a teenager, as the case may be. And so, quickly, Joy, we're also going to talk about, emotional abuse in early
Hmm.
marriages. I feel this is a very sensitive conversation that we do not really have. So, you see, a lot of times I was having a conversation with a friend, and she used to have the preference of getting into relationships with much older men.
Okay.
Okay. At 20, she would prefer to date someone of 30, 32, 29, 28, and all of that. But recently, she's like, if you're not 4 to 5 years older than me, I don't want to get involved with you because these older men are so manipulative and they're so abusive emotionally. Now, let's narrow it down to marriages, early marriages. Now, what is the effect of this emotional abuse on these young girls who get into these marriages?
Okay, you know that I always like to start from the beginning.
Yes.
Now, starting from the beginning, these people are not married for love.
Yeah.
First of all, it is more like a transactional um marriage, or should I
Yeah.
say a business marriage or
Yeah.
something
You can
like
say
that.
that again.
So they are not getting married because of love. That's number one error. I know that people always say, yes, love is not enough, but love is inside. Even though
Yeah.
it's not enough, but it should be included. You
True.
get, you cannot marry somebody you don't love.
Yeah.
You can't get married to somebody, even if you get married to somebody you don't love. Along the line, there's going to be issues,
Okay.
because there's no love inside. So now, judging it based on underage marriage.
Yeah.
Now, as a child, or I would say a child, because anybody that is getting married at a very young age, my girl, you are a child. Just
Yeah.
go back to your mother's house, or probably go back to school
Yeah.
or something. Now, this thing is going to affect them. There's going to be a lot of emotional abuse,
Yeah.
because, like I said before, they're not married for love. So this man can actually treat this woman the way they want. Back in the days, from stories I have been told, and also stories I've also researched on, when there were when there was early marriage was trending then. It was more like when they get married to these people, when they get married to the men, at that point, as they have moved you to your husband's house, they don't care again. Like, your parents don't have any say. Actually, they don't have any say. Now it is the man that now rules over you. And that say that they always say, the man is the head of the house.
Yeah.
He overuses that head of the house to manipulate and abuse this child, there won't even be verbal, there won't even be emotional abuse. There's going to be verbal abuse,
Yeah.
there's going to be physical abuse,
Mm-hmm.
because he will use words like "I own you,"
Mm-hmm.
and that's not how marriage is supposed to be.
Right.
Which one is "I own you"? And it's a small child, you're already claiming, claiming ownership on
Yeah.
this child, and you're telling them, you're making the child feel like, oh, your parents abandoned you for me, so now I own you. Literally, that child has nobody to depend on.
Yeah.
So the child is looking up to the husband, and the husband that this child is looking up to is in turn, damaging her
Yeah.
as a child, damaging her emotionally, physically, and every other aspect of her life. So I feel like it has a major role to play when it comes to, in fact, any
Early
kind of
marriages.
abuse. Any kind of abuse is going to be present in that
All
marriage.
right, thank you once again, Joy. Joy has pointed out that emotional abuse is very predominant in early marriages. Yes, we're talking about absolute control, what you eat, how you watch your weight, what you wear, where you're going to, who you're with, what you want to do. Sometimes even your thoughts, they
Mm.
tend to know what you have in your mind at a time. So it's very dominant. And Joy has also made us understand that it's not just about emotional abuse at the end of the day. Physical abuse will come in, verbal abuse will come in. If you were smart, if you were wise, if you were sensible, you are behaving like, and all of that, those conversations would always pop up. And I own you because, of course, I paid money to get married to you. If your parents could fix you, they would not give you to me in the first place. Now, all of that and more are grounds for which and how abuse emotionally can come into play: control, manipulating, gaslighting, giving way to physical abuse at the end of the day. All right, thank you so much, Joy. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate you see that early marriages are very, very detrimental to society at the end of the day. You know, educate a girl child, you end up educating the world. There is a whole lot the girl child wants to be, there is a whole lot the girl child wants to become, there is a lot she wants to know, and there is a lot she wants to be. We talk about great women like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. We talk about Oprah Winfrey. We talk about so many women at the helm of affairs in the world. And when you look at all of those women, I'm very sure you look at your girl child and you want your girl child to be like one of those. Early marriage will rob her of all of that beauty. Joy has said, let her grow, okay? Let her savor her childhood. There is no need taking it away from her. And there is absolutely no way we are going to sugarcoat this conversation. Early marriage is a no for every girl child out there. Let her physically mature, let her emotionally mature, let her say to herself that it is time to love a person, choose a person, be there for a person, and continuously choose that person every single day, even on days when she does not recognize who she has fallen in love with or who she has gotten married to. It is very, very important. Do not abuse your child for whatever reasons. And that brings me to say, you as the parent, make sure you are very much equipped emotionally and even financially to take care of the child you are birthing into this world. That child is not a collateral. She is not your retirement plan. She's not the one to make your life better, right? Let her live. Let her live. I feel like we should shout and chant that over and over again. Right. And so, finally, Joy,
Yeah.
quickly, in about a minute, you can share with us ways by which you feel like we can curb early marriage as a menace in our society.
I think first of all, education.
Okay.
Educate the girl child. Let her know her rights. First of all, educate her as a human being,
Yeah.
like her rights as a human being. Educate her on her basic human rights. As a Nigerian, since we're all in Nigeria. And if you're in any other country, also educate your child on the rights as a human being.
Mm.
First of all, before you can now educate her as a girl child on her rights as a girl child too. So I think education is the top thing that you're supposed to do. And education doesn't only imply to classrooms.
Yes.
You as a parent, you have every responsibility to educate your child from. In fact, I feel like the education from home is even more important than that of school, because
Yes.
most times you hear people say, uh, school trained me even more than home. I don't
Mm.
really get enough training from home like I do from school. So I think first of all, the education should start from the family. Mothers, educate your children. Fathers also educate your girl child too.
All right. And so thank you very much, Joy. I don't think that can be overflogged. The most important way by which we can curb early marriage in our society, as it is fast ravaging our moral fabric, is by education, awareness, sensitization. The church, social media, religious organizations, institutions, and even the classrooms, it will go a very long way. Well, that's the much we can take on this edition of Empower Her on Spectrum TV. Thank you so much, Joy, for being my
Thank you.
guest.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much to my viewers for staying right there, and do not. You have not changed the amazing Dell. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate. Well, my name is Rita Eno, and I've been your anchor on the program Empower Her. Do well to keep a date with me next time. We will be talking about even more interesting, educating, and entertaining topics. But for now, make sure you stay tuned and have yourself a good rest of today.